this video we are going to cover how to create a placement. And you'll see I've started on our home page, which is also the publisher page of our demo account here. And placements are created within each publisher. So in order to create a placement, you have to select the publisher that you want to create the placement in. You have a list here. We'll just choose the demo publisher. And so this is the publisher detail page, and I also like to think of it as the placement page because this is where you're going to create all of your placements. Now placements are defined by the tracking type and the ad size. And so you'll see we have our list of placements here already. And before we create a new placement and go over that, let's go over a couple of these fields over here. So within each placement that you've created, you can edit the placement. And you'll see that you have all these fields that you can edit and make changes to. The two I'll bring to your attention, the tracking type and the placement type. Once you've created a placement, those are things that cannot be changed and updated. So you couldn't change a placement from a 300 by 250 to a 728 by 90 or something like that. You'd have to create a new placement. You can grab your tag from here. You can look at your sub ID stats, so any of the statistics you can click on and it will go right to that breakdown, and you just have to process and show. You can view the hourly stats, and this will break down by hour the stats, conversions, the click spend, all that's coming through. So just a quick link to get to that. And then you can also clone any of your placements and delete any of your placements right from here. Now if you delete a placement, just like with the publishers, if you want to see it in the future, you can show your deleted placements, click on search, and it will show you any of those placements that you have previously deleted. And before we create a placement, we'll go over one other thing, and that's the import placements. So just like on the publisher page where you can clone any publisher and it will clone everything within, this is another spot where you can import the placements within a different publisher. And you'll see it just has the list of the publishers that we have in this demo account already. And it will clone all of the different placements into this publisher that you're currently in. So let's go ahead and create a placement. And you'll see the first thing you need to do is give the placement a name. We'll just call it test. The next field, you're choosing your tracking type. For most of you, it will be ad server, but if you're using our link tracker, this is where you would change so the system knows you're using the link tracker. And for those who do video, we have the VAST tag tracking type as well. For this demo, we'll just leave it on the ad server. Next field is the cost metric. So you can choose how the spend comes through in the UpRival system. We have the choice for the CPM, the CPC, the cost per click, the CPA, and a flat rate. And if you don't want to track any of that, you can just click on the none as well, and it will take that field out. But for this purpose, we'll just leave it on the cost per 1,000 impressions and the cost rate, and we will just put $1.05 in there. And the next field is click tracking. You can track the raw clicks or the unique clicks, and really just the difference between the two. The unique is just based off of the IP that is coming through. The raw, it's going to track every click that comes through. So if the same person is clicking on the ad multiple times, it's going to track that. You can check the box to have your placement open in a new window or not, and my suggestion would be to usually just to check that box and have that checked. Next thing you're going to do is define the placement size, and we'll just have a 300 by 250 in here. Initial ad group type. So if you're just doing a simple image like a PNG or a JPEG or something like that, you can just leave it on display banners, and that will create that ad group so that you don't have to go in and create a new ad group for that. But if your initial ad group is native ads where you're using a template that's in our system, one of ours or one that you've previously created, you can choose the native ads. And then we also have video ad templates within the ad server tracking type that you can use as well. So you can have that as an initial ad group if you'd like. We'll just leave it on the display banner one. And then you can enable or disable targeting features. I would suggest just leaving this enabled so that you have the option to go in and set up targeting within your ad groups or your ads. Ad group logic, you'll see that this is a field that can't be adjusted, so you don't need to worry about this. Geographical statistics, so you can enable these at a country, region, or city. And for those in the US, that would be, instead of region, it would be state. So you can enable those if you'd like as well. And then the last option, once you've chosen a placement size, so if you haven't entered a placement size here, chosen one of those, then there won't be any ad groups you can copy from. But once you've chosen a placement size, all of the different placements you have within your whole account that are of the same placement size will show up that you can clone. So this is another place where you can clone a different placement and bring it in to the system here. And if you do use this field, then you'll want to tell the system if you also want to include any targeting that you've created with that placement or any frequency capping that you've created with that placement. And that will cover the general field. Most of you probably won't use these other fields as much, but let's go over them as well. If you have a custom domain that you're using in the UpRival system rather than just using the UpRivalAdServer.net domain, this is where you would go ahead and choose these from the drop-down list here. So as you can see, it's kind of a cool thing. You can change these based on placements. So if you have multiple products that you're running and you want to use their domains, we can help you get that set up, and then you can choose those for each specific placement. And then the last one, for those who run traffic in the European Union, in Europe somewhere, you probably know what the GDPR is for, and this is where you would go to enable those settings. So those are done on a placement level, and you can just go ahead and click on that and it will enable that. And then you can choose the compliant impression click logging and the conversion logging, and you can tell the system to anonymize the IP addresses, or if you just don't care to store any IP addresses at all. So those are the two options that are there. Once you've done all of this, and you'll see it keeps all the data in there, you're just going to go ahead and click on the create button, and you have created a placement.